Well, good morning, everybody. Hello and welcome in another edition of Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy in conjunction with our friends at Yellowhammer News, Longshore and McKnight. I'm at a remote location. Barry looks like to be back at home base today and kick this week off.
Yes. Whew. It is a busy time, a really busy time. Unfortunately, I was back a little early from Milwaukee, a little earlier than I hoped to be. Troy loses in the first round of the Midwest Regional to Kentucky on Friday night. We flew back on Saturday, jumped in and did baseball yesterday. And we got women's basketball tonight. Troy is in the WNIT and hosting a game tonight against Chattanooga. So it is still a busy time. Did get a chance to check out some basketball.
Yeah,
man, it's best. It's the best, just the best time all the way around.
It has been fun, Barry. I'm with you there. I've watched a lot or bits and pieces of a lot of these games, and it is. I mean, it's kind of like, and I don't know, it's because of where Auburn and Alabama are and how they're being talked about, that everybody's excited about. Just watching, getting a piece of these games. It is. I'm with you. It has been. Obviously, we're going to break them all down and talk a lot about both Auburn and Alabama's weeks. Of course, they both pulled off 2 victories to make it to the Sweet 16. But and we were talking about it before we went on the air this morning. You know, just the way CBS produces these games, it is a television event. I mean, it kind of reminds me, and they're already promoting it as they should, the Masters, and it's an event. It's a television event. Just the way it's produced, I think it attracts obviously a wider audience, maybe not so many hardcore basketball fans. I mean, you know, probably female audience. I mean, my wife's been more interested in it than I've seen her, you know, be in basketball. So they do a really good job of that. And I noticed it Friday at the Troy game. We're watching Troy and Kentucky. Of course, I had the volume down, listening to you, of course.
Of course.
But I just thought, wow, what a big stage and a big moment for Troy. I mean, CBS is falling all over themselves. Look at this Sun Belt Conference going up against Big Blue Kentucky, and, you know, interviewing Scott Cross in the middle of the game while it's going on. I thought, you know, this is pretty cool.
It was something. We went out on Friday early. Troy played the 3rd game of 4 that day at the Fiserv Forum, which they tell me seats 23,000. So we went out early to set up and get everything ready. Normally we ride with the team, but we had to get there earlier. And we came in about 5 minutes left in the first half of North Carolina and Ole Miss. And I mean, we walked in, you know, I'm trailing my equipment and stuff. And I mean, I've been in big venues before, but this was like, Jerry and I were like, wow, this is, I mean, 23,000 fans, the majority of them wearing Carolina blue, screaming and yelling. And, you know, we'd been in the arena the day before for open practice. I got a chance to visit with Kevin Harlan, who did the play-by-play, and watch the teams practice. But the game itself, boy, they do a big-time job. And I'm telling you, that CBS production is something. They got about 9 seats at midcourt. They got people out there that, I mean, I got no clue what they're doing, but they're there and they're with CBS, and they got the special, you know, the hang tags and stuff like that. It is a production. It is unbelievable, the scope of all that and how they make it work every year from every venue. There was Wichita and Providence, Rhode Island, and Milwaukee and Lexington and all that. Really kind of boggles the mind. Here are the takeaways. Of course, Auburn and Alabama move on. They're in the Sweet 16. There are obviously 16 teams in the Sweet 16. 7 of them are from the SEC. There have never been as many as 7 SEC or 7 anybody teams in the Sweet 16. It was 2016 when the ACC had 6. The SEC has nearly half of all the teams remaining: Auburn, Alabama, Florida, Tennessee, Kentucky, Ole Miss, and Arkansas. For those people who gripe about the SEC, oh, you know, they shouldn't have had 14 teams in. Well, half of them are still in.
Yep.
So they must be doing something right, you know?
Yeah, no doubt. And some of the SEC teams that are still in, I'm a little surprised. I will say so.
Yeah.
Some
Yep.
others I'm not. And we'll break those down as well with the 14 that were started, and we're down to not as many now. I'm just curious your thoughts about, and before we get in, I know we got a lot to cover today. We've got a lot of
Yeah.
time to do it, so be patient.
Yeah.
Your thoughts about just the experience. We asked Coach Cross this when he joined us Friday, but
Yeah.
I'm just curious your thoughts about, well, you mentioned leaving the Montgomery airport. The plane was different. I would assume the hotel accommodations were different. The travel in and around Milwaukee was different. Or maybe something different going on at the hotel. I don't know if there was, that was kind of like NCAA headquarters where y'all were staying, but you mentioned walking into the arena, and obviously that that makes sense. 23,000 deals, but what was the differences that you saw?
Well, everything, not that like it's not before. I love working and traveling with Troy, but everything is absolutely total first class. I mean, our airplane coming out of Montgomery, it was an A220. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But it was a charter, and it was, I mean, that's the nicest airplane I've ever been in my life. We had a ton of people going up there. When you get in there, I mean, that thing is spotless. It's brand new. It was sitting there on the tarmac waiting for us. I was talking with one of the flight attendants while the team was getting screened down below us and everything, and asking her how it works. She says, "No, we are dedicated to Troy." She said, "We'll fly you up there. We'll hang around up there until it's time for you to come back, and then we'll fly
Oh,
you back."
wow.
So we had our own dedicated plane and crew. You get out, and there's these incredible buses. I think we had 3 of them on the tarmac. I mean, they had velour and curtains instead of screens on the windows, and super nice. They took us straight to the hotel, and that hotel was big time. So everything about it was absolutely first class. And again, the logistics of it, John, I don't know how they do it. We're talking about the CBS telecast, how they, can put the games of that quality on all day. Kevin Harlan was telling me he did 4 games that first day. And it was all just immaculate. Imagine all the other logistics, making sure, we practiced, for instance, at the Al McGuire Center on the Marquette campus, and they had allotted times. And, when you're supposed to be done at 11:15, they are shoving you out at 11:15. So Illinois could come in. And, after the Ole Miss North Carolina game, they got all the fans out, brought all the Kentucky fans in, all the Troy fans in for the next one. They all had, everything as far as the buses taking them was all orchestrated. Just the logistics of everything, totally first class. And we were talking
you were
with players.
telling me about. I'm just amazed. The plane. You think about all the teams that are in the tournament.
Yeah.
And for there to be a plane dedicated to Troy, I mean, you would think that plane would still be up in the air picking somebody up while Troy was practicing or waiting. Was it a charter service or an airline?
It was a charter service. I can't think it. It was like Blaze or something like that.
Breeze. Was it Breeze?
That's what it was. Yeah.
Breeze. Yeah.
It was Breeze, which has been contracted for. I mean, we weren't the only one that Breeze contracted with the NCAA for. They were busy. Maybe everybody. I don't know. But just the whole thing just absolutely was first class. After Troy lost, you had kind of a team meal. If you wanted to come down and eat at the hotel restaurant, you could. And I was talking with one of our walk-ons, and he was saying, does the NCAA pay for all of our food here? Because, I mean, the restaurant was super nice. And I said, that's a good question. I do know that they pay for the hotel. I do know that they pay for the bus. I do know that they pay for the airplane. So I would imagine that they pay for the food as well. And he says, gosh, how can they afford that? I said, have you seen the NCAA's contract with CBS? They are making billions of dollars on this. Believe me, affording this, paying for teams' food is a drop in the bucket compared to what they're getting in return for all of this. So it was
that's
amazing.
That's amazing.
Absolutely first class.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yes. Yeah, with that CBS deal in the billions, I guess they can afford to
go ahead and
teams
upsize
as
the combo
as well as they do. Yeah, exactly. No drive-through meals here.
The other aspect of it as a whole is the fact that we're starting to see it now, John, with all of the NIL out there, with all of the money for the players that's out there, for all of the freedom in the transfer portal. We're starting to see the upshot of it all. For the first time since 2007, which is 18 years, there are no teams seeded 12th or lower in the Sweet 16. There are very few upsets in the first couple of rounds. There were some, but very few. The teams that are spending the most on players are the teams that have moved on to the Sweet 16, the mid-majors, the smaller Power Fours. They are by the wayside soon. John, we're starting to see that separation, that money for NIL and money for buying players is going to mean, and I don't think it's going away. There was nobody seated 12th or lower. There's no Cinderellas left. I think that day and age is gone, John, in the NCAA.
Yeah, you're right. I'm looking at my bracket that I've filled I've moved all the teams up, these teams I'm familiar with. I know where these teams are, and I pretty much know their mascots. I'm very familiar with who's left in the Sweet 16. You're right. I don't see any Lipscombs. I don't see any Grand Canyons, UNCWs. Yeah, I'm with you there. Hey, Daniel, with a good pull there. Yeah, Daniel, I knew that an A220 was an Airbus. I did not realize it was one of the Airbus planes that is manufactured in Mobile. You are correct, sir. It is manufactured in Mobile. It is a neat airplane. It is rather new. So, Daniel, thanks for that. Appreciate it. Bob from Pike Road's in as well. We'll talk to him, get his thoughts about his bracket. Our man Les from down your way in the Ozark area chiming in this morning as well.
Yeah, my great friend Les Perrault, who's a wonderful guy. His daughter is in the Sound of the South pep band, said it was a great experience in Milwaukee. Everything was first class. His daughter is Olivia, and she's awesome. I just wish she would have come up and said something to me. We could have visited for a little bit, but she was probably busier than I was, that's for sure. But yeah, it was first class. So here's what you've got, and we'll go over the games in a moment. But looking ahead, Thursday in the Sweet 16, very first game, BYU and Alabama. That'll be Thursday at 6:09 on CBS. 6:09.
Is BYU a lot like St. Mary's?
BYU's got some shooters. And they've also got a ton of NIL. They've signed the number one prospect in the nation for next year for $7 million. BYU's got some money. Yeah,
obviously they're not like St. Mary's. If BYU can shoot the three, because St. Mary's cannot. We found that out last night. I would just be interested in the makeup of their starting five. I would think it would be similar to, even though St. Mary's, they had a guy that looked like he was 8 feet last night. Not very fluid going up and down the floor, but he reminded me of Jaws on the Bond movies, the way he ran up and down the floor.
Yeah. Do you have a girlfriend with pigtails coming out? No, BYU and Alabama is the first game on Thursday, CBS 6:09. Auburn will play on Friday against the Michigan Wolverines. That's a CBS game. That will be at 8:39 on Friday. And taking a look at the old brackets here.
Yeah.
Just taking a look.
Take a look.
There is a possibility, if Alabama stays hot and Auburn stays hot, the only way they could meet in the postseason, John, is in the national championship game.
Well, that's a good lead.
Heads would explode if that happens.
That's a good lead in. And I don't really want to get off on it right now till we get back from our next break.
All right.
I'll just tease it by saying this. That's not going to happen. And I know, oh, wow, you're going out on a limb there, Longshore. Wow,
Oh,
really? You don't think that's
blanket
gonna happen?
Longshore here. Yeah.
No, I do not think that's going to happen. I do not believe Auburn and Alabama will meet for the national championship because you're right. That's the only way they could face each other. And I'll just leave it at that till we get back from our first break so we can really sink our teeth into it and get into some good discussion.
We've got a lot to do. Again,
Barry, I made a lot of notes over the last 4 days, mainly concerning Alabama basketball.
Well, Alabama was a winner. Before we go to break, let me point this out. Let me jump around here. Alabama did win. They beat St. Mary's by 14 yesterday. Auburn was a winner. They beat Creighton by 12 on Friday. They're both moving forward. Let the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, let that be on the official court record before we start tearing anything down, which I suspect is coming up. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Well, the Crimson Tide and the Auburn Tigers are really hot in college basketball, and so are the deals at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville. Alabama and Northwest Florida's largest volume Ram truck dealer is Stivers in Prattville. And at Stivers, they have the largest selection of Ram trucks priced at thousands less than other dealers. How about a 2025 Ram Bighorn 4x4 crew cab with savings of up to $15,000 off sticker price? Also at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, they have fantastic savings on the entire Jeep lineup, like the Wranglers and Jeep Grand Cherokees. Head over to Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram today on Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville, where Price sells cars and trucks.
All right, man, grab a Budweiser and take a knee. It is the best time of the year. It's baseball season. That means sunshine. It means behind-the-back peanut tosses. And it means sharing some cold, frosty Budweisers with your boys. Because there's nothing more American than watching America's game with America's beer. So let me ask you something. Are you ready to bring your A game? Are you ready to cheer every frozen rope down the line and amazing catch at the warning track? Are you ready for pitchers' duels and slugfests? Tell me, are you ready for the thrill of an incredible walk-off victory? I can't hear you. Are you ready for Budweiser and baseball? Then get on your feet, raise an ice-cold Bud, and let's make this season larger than life. Great times are waiting. Get some Bud!
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the Riverbank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to banking above and beyond at Riverbank and Trust. Locations throughout the river region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. River Bank and Trust. Okay, welcome back in, everybody. About 18 minutes past the hour on this Monday, Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. I'll go ahead and just give you a little heads up. You might want to pull up the roster for Robert Morris, because I'm not sure I'm going to pronounce this young man's first name correctly. But there was a player, I believe his name is Marion Dickerson.
Yeah.
For Robert Morris. I'm not sure how you pronounce his first name.
Mm-hmm.
And
I got a Marion Dickerson, like Marion with an A at the front.
Yeah. A Marion Dickerson. And I mentioned, Barry, that I was going to be listening to Chris Stewart.
Yeah.
When that game was going to be played. I was in transit. So Chris, they call him BP, Brian Passink. Yeah, I didn't know that. You know, like JT on the tour, they call him JT. They call Brian Passink BP. But anyway, I'm listening to Chris and BP broadcast the game. And Barry, if I had $1 for every time Chris Stewart mentioned the name Dickerson in that broadcast. I mean,
Yeah.
I was about to run into a ditch. I'm thinking, can they not guard this guy? I mean, and luckily for Alabama, the kid fouls out with like 2 minutes left in the game because I'm calling for a foul out. I said, you got to get this kid fouled out. I mean, he is all over the court. I don't know. I know his line looked good, his scoring attempts, blocks, whatever, the stats.
25 points, 9 rebounds, 11 buckets. Only one of them was a three-pointer. 6 offensive rebounds, by the way.
You got to get this kid off the floor. I've never heard an announcer mention somebody's name as much. Every time another Dickerson again, blocks a shot, makes a shot.
Yeah,
So
AJ McCarron's girlfriend in the Iron Bowl is the only time I've ever heard an announcer mention one person's name that much. Yeah.
So, and there again, you know, Barry, you hear
John's talking like, he's talking like, I mean, he plays for Robert Morris. How good could he really be? I mean, come on.
Oh, well, I don't know if he's got any eligibility left, but Nate Oates ought to see about it if he'll transfer. Man, the guy
to Texas?
Just, ooh, more on that later. Bucky McMillan, line one. But yeah, I mean, Chris, come on. I'm tired of hearing this guy's name. And you heard it. You hear it during the tournament. You heard it after the Clemson game. Hey, don't let that score fool you. You know, Clemson was getting blown out. They kind of, got it closer. I'm not sure the scores in Alabama's 2 wins in the tournament are indicative of really the way that they played. And I've been saying this all year. I still feel the same way. If you're an Alabama fan, watching them play is kind of nerve-wracking. It's kind of, you can't ever get comfortable until maybe the last 5 minutes of the game, maybe.
And he's not even talking only about Alabama basketball. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as you watch Auburn, as you have since November when I first started talking about them, and it really hadn't changed my feel all season long, you're kind of going, this team's got it. I'm not worried about this. I feel great. Go give me another Bud Light. This is great. Yeah. There was a football program like that for a period of time that we're familiar with, about 17 years, when most of the fans went, feel good about this one. No big deal. And I still feel that's the big difference with me with Auburn and Alabama. Auburn, a little bit more confident, feeling better about them. Alabama, I don't know, a little nervous.
Bama fans don't like nervous. They don't want nervousness. They want joyless murder ball. You know, they want to be able to settle in and enjoy things and, a little extra pull on the old granddad. And, all of this nervousness, like the game is still in doubt. And we've got 5 minutes to go in the first half. Why are they still? Why am I nervous about it? That's the meaning. Meanwhile, look, they beat Robert Morris in the NCAA tournament. No, you'd never heard of Robert Morris before. They win that game by 9. They score 90. They give up 81 to, again, Robert Morris. And then they follow that up yesterday against St. Mary's.
Which
now, listen, Bama fans, you got Robert Morris and St. Mary's so far in the NCAA tournament. Should you be breaking a sweat against those guys? Yeah,
well,
those teams are pretty good.
Hear these announcers on TV. They're all this, these schools, St. Mary's won their league, and they've had 5 20-win seasons or whatever the stat was. I'm thinking, really, wow, I had to look them up. I had no clue where they were from. They're from California, from a town I'd never heard of before.
Moraga, California. Yes.
I have no idea what part of the state that's in. But all that being said, and I know the score, if you looked at the line score, you're going, oh, man, they blew them out. But maybe it's the style of play. Look, I love Mark Sears to death. I think he's done great for Alabama basketball, but sometimes it just looks a little undisciplined. I mean, the drives to the bucket of going everywhere, things are flying all over the place, and there goes a shot. Sometimes they fall, sometimes they don't. I know I sound like Philip saying that. But it just doesn't look as organized or as structured as I would like to see it.
I get that, I suppose. I also get the fact that they've won 2 games and they're in the Sweet 16.
For the third
Maybe
year in
they've
a
had
row.
an easier path, and here
Third year
comes
in a row.
my favorite sports commentator coming in and saying, I'm a little cold. It doesn't jump at me. Now, for Auburn, all credit to Alabama State. Goodness knows they played hard, but there was never any doubt. Even Alabama State was like within 5 late in the first half. There was never really any doubt about that. Auburn pulls away. They win by 20. How did you feel in the game on Saturday? I was listening to a little bit of it on Saturday because we were in transit listening to Andy and Randall, and Andy was pretty nervous. He was pretty hyped up. It was tied in the second half. Was I really worried? Yeah, I was concerned. Creighton's got the big guy inside. Janai Broom wasn't playing great. Kalkbrenner's one of the top 5 big men in the nation. He's like 7'1". But I got to tell you, there was never a point where I'm going, oh, my gosh, Auburn's going to lose this game. They just seemed to be, when they needed to, they could pour it on when they had to. And I agree with Bob from Pike Road. What? Bob says Auburn looked a lot better in round 2. Bama seemed to not be in sync in round 2. Both won. Neither is playing their best so far. I agree. If you had to ask me Auburn was fine. Alabama was up and down, but they're just more talented than Robert Morris and St. Mary's. It's a pretty easy path. The one that I'm really impressed, and Florida really had a battle in the round of 32. The 2 teams that have really impressed me so far, one of them is Ole Miss. Ole Miss was beating the snot out of North Carolina. I was sitting there courtside at that game, and Ole Miss kind of took the pedal off, and North Carolina made it close, but Ole Miss made the shots. And then yesterday, Ole Miss beat the crud out of Iowa State. Watch out for Ole Miss. The other one I really like so far are the Duke Blue Devils.
Mm-hmm.
They got that look, John.
They're strong.
Those everybody's looked good. Everybody who's in the Sweet 16 deserves to be there. But man, Duke. And my dark horse now, Ole Miss looks good to me.
Yeah, they look good in the regular season. Of course, beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa for what that's worth. Kirk tells us that St. Mary's is east of Oakland. All right, Kirk, thank you for that. That's good to know. Did not know where St. Mary's was located. Also, this Greg says, yep, Sears' 3-point shot is gone. And UA Carpe Diem, is Mark Sears dead last on his own team in field goal percentage?
I don't know. I was trying to figure out who he says. Yeah. UA Carpe Diem. When is the last time an All-American was dead last on his own team in field goal percentage? To be honest, I thought he was talking about Janai Broom. Because usually when he makes an oblique reference without mentioning his name, he's either talking about somebody from Auburn or he's talking about Stephen Reed. So I don't know. I didn't get it, but maybe that's who he's talking about.
Maybe it is.
All I know is that they're in the Sweet 16, and
they are.
I don't think Alabama fans are enjoying it like they should, if that's the way they all feel.
Well, and as someone pointed out to me on the River Region Straw VIP text line, Bama struggled against Grand Canyon last year before going to the Final Four, which is true. I get it. I understand.
Auburn,
a lot can happen between now and Thursday night at 6:09.
Auburn's Final Four appearance, they almost got beat by New Mexico State.
Correct.
In the first round.
People remember
forget that. So, it happens, people. It happens.
But I just can't. Both there, we obviously talk about Auburn and Alabama a ton, And when I'm looking at both of those teams, I'm looking at the same thing that I looked at back in November when we first started getting into basketball and hearing about these teams and hearing about their chances to making a long run. And I still feel the same way today I did back in November. I think Auburn is really talented. They are damn good. And I'm expecting to see them in the championship game, probably against Duke. I will be amazed, Barry, if Alabama makes it to the Final Four. Somebody asked about BYU on the chat line. I hadn't had time to look it up. Want to know if BYU had beaten anybody big this year. Barry,
Big.
helmet teams, big boys.
You can't have a helmet team in basketball. Come on.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. I'm not sure who BYU. What conference are they in?
They are in the West Coast Conference now.
West Coast Conference. There you have it.
Yes.
So I don't know a lot about BYU. I know Alabama played them in football years and years and years ago, but I don't know a lot. That's kind of my homework assignment this week about BYU, looking into them before Thursday's game. But I do not. Obviously, they're pretty good. They've made the Sweet 16. I'll give them much.
The difficulty with Alabama, I see. This is what concerns me. Alabama wins against BYU, and BYU is good. That one looks like it could easily be an upset. And then they lose to Duke in the Elite Eight. This is what concerns me. Bama fans are going to see that and say, see, I told you. I told you this team wasn't going to do it. I told you this team was flawed. I knew they weren't really that good. That'll drive me crazy, and I'm no Alabama fan, obviously. They have had a wonderful year. I don't think they're as good as Duke. I definitely don't think they're as good defensively as Duke. But if they lose to Duke in the NCAA tournament, there's going to be a lot of you out there. They're going to say, see, told you.
I hate to be a Debbie Downer, Barry. I really hate to be a Debbie Downer, but you're right. It just hit me like a ton of bricks. If Alabama does get by BYU, and at the next break, I'm going to look up BYU's schedule just to get a look.
I'm looking at it right now. Yes.
And then you're telling me they're going to beat Duke in the Elite Eight? Come on. I don't want to really, burst the bubble of Bama fans watching and listening this morning. I'm a reality broker. I'm just giving you the reality of it.
Let's see. BYU has lost to Ole Miss in a tournament in San Diego. They've lost badly by like 31 to Houston at Houston.
Alabama played Houston this year, didn't they?
Yeah, and so did Troy. Troy. Yeah. Houston looks really good. Who have they beaten really good? They've beaten Baylor in overtime.
All right.
That's about it. I'm wrong. BYU men's basketball, last year they were in the West Coast. This year they're in the Big 12. I forgot about that. Yeah. It's hard to keep track these days. Yeah, they're in Big 12 play. So it's hard to keep track.
To beat a BYU team, Barry, I think
Wisconsin, they beat them.
Wisconsin.
Well, last game. Yeah.
So for them for Alabama to move on, because there again, Auburn's moving on. In my mind, Auburn's moving on. Even Phillip talks about it this morning. His column this morning, Barry, in Coffee with Phillip, he doesn't hold any punches. Is Auburn the class of the field in Atlanta? Boom. A question right out of the gate.
Yeah, in bold. That's his subhead for the entire thing. And his answer is not obvious. He doesn't answer it. But he does tell you this coming weekend is going to truly be something to remember.
I agree. I'm with you there, Phillip. I don't have any concern about Auburn. Michigan, Ole Miss, Michigan State winner, they're in. In my mind, Auburn's in the Final Four because I don't see a weakness there. With Alabama, Mark Sears has got to play better. He's got to hit that three. He's got to play better defense.
Yeah.
I think some of the other players have stepped up in his absence. I think that's why they're in the Sweet 16. Youngblood's a player I've been impressed with all year. He's a blue-collar worker. He plays tough. And that three he made, Barry, he could have stood there 100 more times. There's no way you can hit the top right corner of the glass, kiss it off, and it goes in for a three. I mean, I'm thinking, whoa. I mean, I had to hit the rewind button. I said, this is he was asked about it at halftime. I thought, oh, that is what a shot. I mean, that's one for the ages.
Yeah, please.
And then, of course, Grant Nelson's playing better. He's turned his game up. But I'm telling you, Barry, for Alabama to make it to the final, well, there again, they ain't beating Duke. But for them to beat BYU, Mark Sears has got to play better.
A little bit more consistently. I'm with you there. I still believe he's the heart and soul of that team. Let's take a break. More to come in just a moment. Great to hear from you on the River Region Straw Chat line. We'll catch up on a couple of those. John is on location. I am in my home studio. Finally, in association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Book tee time sooner. Save on every round. That's what you get with the 2025 RTJ Trail Card. Destination golf is closer than you might think. Buy a 2025 Trail Card and save every time you play. Plus, you will be automatically entered into the Trails Loyalty Program. Enjoy 10-day advance reservation privileges at each location. 11-day advanced internet tee times on rtjgolf.com and the RTJ app. Enjoy the benefits of a 2025 Trail Card. It makes for a great stocking stuffer, and you save on every round you play in 2025 on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
Okay, welcome back in, everybody. About 22 minutes to the hour of 8 here on the live broadcast. One of my smart buddies, Barry, said I needed to lick my fingers and pull my hair down a little bit. Look, whatever hair I got left, I want it to stick up. I'm going Don King with what I've got left here. But anyway, we're here ready to go on Longshore and McKnight. I want to remind everybody, obviously, our good friends at yellowhammernews.com. Great place to check us out. Also, a write-up every afternoon about what the show is about. You can also check us out on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and Spotify. So there's so many different ways to check us out. We really appreciate that. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and tell all your friends and buddies and associates about Longshore and McKnight.
Yeah, we've got a lot going on this week. Getting ready to preview the Sweet 16. It's getting to be Dennis Mitchell's favorite time. Lots of coaching changes that are going on. The half of the SEC's teams that made it into the NCAA tournament are still alive through 2 rounds. The Big Ten has 4 teams left. The Big 12 has 4. The ACC only has Duke.
Only Duke.
Only Duke. So there
and that's interesting, Barry, because you started the show out, and I didn't think of it that way. But you're looking at big boy conferences. I mean, the teams that are left. Well, Houston. What was Houston? They're not in the Big 12. They're in the Big 12.
They're in the Big 12. You've got the Big 12. You've got the Big 10, and you've got the ACC and the SEC.
Yeah.
There are 16 teams left, 4 conferences. The previous low number of conferences representing the Sweet 16 was 7. This year in the Sweet 16, 4. SEC, Big 10, Big 12, ACC. You know what they all have in common? They're all Power 4 teams, all Power 4 leagues. You ain't going to see many more Gonzagas, quite frankly. And the Sweet 16, good luck to St. Mary's and VCU and Butler and some of the other places that have had, tournament runs, Cinderella stories. These are the ones who are paying the most for players. Watch this today in men's college basketball. The transfer portal has opened up today in men's basketball. Today it started on the East Coast. It started about 41 minutes ago. In the Central Time Zone, it'll start in about 19 minutes. You watch that portal today. You don't have to look at the players, Trey Green and Ahmad Malal or anybody like that. Just watch the numbers and watch where they're coming from. Alcorn State, Xavier, Norfolk State, Jacksonville State, Mercer. You know why they're getting in the transfer portal? Because they want to see if they can get some Power 4 money. And the Power 4, they're going down the grocery aisle saying, do I want the store brand today? This one's on special, but no, I'm gonna shop on the high-end shelf. I mean, there are guys out there, and you can look all over all of these teams. There are players in the mid-majors. Who's Alabama's best player? Where did he come from? Ohio. Auburn's best player? Moorhead Dadgum State. So this is where they're going. In the past 10 years ago, John I. Broome would be the Ohio Valley Conference Player of the Year, finishing out his career at Moorhead State. Denver Jones would still be at FIU. Yeah.
I mentioned Youngblood. He played at South Florida last year. And I think the year before that, he was at some school I never heard of.
Yeah.
So, you're right. But, they're showing the starting lineups last night for Alabama, St. Mary's. And it kind of hit because of the starting 5. 4 of the 5 were graduate students. And then one of them was a freshman. And I thought, wow, this team's they're pretty old. And maybe that's what it takes too. We've heard a lot about that with Auburn, how old this team is. I never really bought into that, but obviously there's something to it. Teams that have older, experienced players seem to go a little further.
Obviously I was doing a lot of preparation for the Troy-Kentucky game. Kentucky last year famously got beaten in the first round as a 3 seed by a 15 seed, the Golden Griffins of Oakland University. They had that kid who hit like 10 threes against Kentucky. Last year's Kentucky team, a lot of those guys transferred out when Coach Cal left for Arkansas. A lot of them were playing for Arkansas. They had 12 new players on their team at Kentucky. 12. They redid their entire roster when Mark Pope got there. And to your point, John, how soon we forget the point guard, the one with the bad shoulder, grad student, the 7-footer from Drexel, grad student for Kentucky, redshirt senior, this guy, grad student, that's what you win with. And that's probably good. There's nothing wrong with that, but you ain't going to see a lot of freshmen being recruited by the Power 4. Not as many anyway. You know where they're going to go? Yeah. Freshmen are going to go to the Sun Belt. Freshmen are going to get scholarship offers from Conference USA. And if they're any good, they play a year there. They're 17 points a game, freshman of the year in their league. Guess what? The next year, they're going to go to the Arkansas and the Kentuckys and the Georgias and Alabamas and Auburns. That's how it works. I love this. I know what you're laughing at. I know what you're laughing at me. God bless Dennis Mitchell. Why? To be honest, John, I don't understand why more people don't do what Dennis just did. He's posted on there. Kidding. John and Barry, please acknowledge my comments in depth. Thank you. Why don't more of you guys say, John and Barry, stop putzing around and pay attention to me?
You got to. You have got to ask. You got to know in your pocket, Dennis Mitchell. What does Dennis want to know, Barry? Let me go back and find out.
Yeah, Dennis brought this up. He mentioned Sean Miller going to Texas. That's the latest buzz. The Xavier coach going to Texas. I don't love that. There was a report earlier that made you think that it was going to be Nate Oates. They said the report is that there's going to be a Power 4 coach with 25 wins, that Texas was going to hire a $5 million coach. Yeah. Well, Sean Miller ain't making $5 million at Xavier. But Dennis, I think what he says here, bad news, John and Barry, Bill Mercer, the voice of world-class wrestling, has died. He was 99. This is what I love.
99?
He had a lot of Native American. He did play-by-play for the Dallas Cowboys, the Chicago White Sox, and the Texas Rangers, which is true. Damn. Bill Mercer was good. He was the voice of the Cowboys right before Vern Lundquist, who was the voice of the Cowboys right before Ron Franklin, who was the voice of the Cowboys right before Brad Sham, who's now been there about 35 years for the Cowboys. So Bill Mercer was old.
So Vern Lundquist was the voice of the Cowboys? I don't think I knew that.
For a little bit. Yeah. Dennis also says, looks like Ben McCollum to Iowa, Will Wade to NC State, and where does West Virginia Mountain Mama go to now that Darren DeVries, their head coach, is the new head coach at Indiana? So,
Dennis, have we answered everything for you?
Well, no, so. He wasn't looking for answers, John. He was looking for acknowledgement.
Just comments.
Yeah.
Yes, comments. Dennis, keep them coming. Lifetime Achievement Award winner, Dennis, my man Mitchell. This one, I don't know the last time John Dent has been to Montgomery, but John asked a question about a landmark that was in Montgomery for many, many years. He says, JL, do you know if Joe's is still thriving out on Fairview Avenue in the Gump? He's talking about Joe's Deli.
Joe's?
So Joe's Deli went from Fairview Avenue to Zelda Road, and that shopping center there, that's the last location of Joe's Deli. You're right. Great sandwiches, great burgers.
Great place.
Some of the names of those burgers. Unfortunately, Joe's is not around anymore, John, and that area on Fairview Avenue is an eyesore, a complete eyesore. And I don't know what in the hell has taken them so long to get that strip looking better, because it would thrive if they'd ever get some bulldozers in there and get the construction going. I've been hearing all the talk, hearing all the rumors about, oh, this is coming, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. Well, when's it going to get started? Because it looks terrible. And if I was a resident of Old Cloverdale, I would be flying mad about it. Let's go. Let's get the ball rolling.
Well, the latest, and we'll probably talk about that a lot this week, the only Cinderella left in the NCAA tournament is, believe it or not, John Calipari and the Arkansas Razorbacks. Ain't exactly a Cinderella, when you think about it. They're a 10 seed. They're the lowest seed left in the tournament. Again, it is the first time that there has not been a 12 seed or lower in the Sweet 16. And again, it's because we're going to see this in football, where the teams that spend the most on players, just blatantly, here's money, take it and come play for us. The teams that spend the most on players and raid players, well, that's not fair. They do it and outbid players from smaller leagues. All of those smaller leagues are hemorrhaging players to the Power 4. and they're
Get
getting what
ready.
they pay for. So get ready,
You know-
because you're going to see a lot of those schools exclusively in the tournament and in the college football playoff.
When we get back, I'm going to break down some of the other SEC teams other than Auburn and Alabama. Certainly, we're going to talk a lot about them the remainder of the day as well. But the other teams in this league that advanced to the Sweet 16, Arkansas is one of them. Got some thoughts about them. They were the Phantoms' daily dog last week against Kansas that came in for us. Didn't do so well on Friday. More on that later in the program. But going to talk about a lot of these SEC teams that I think have surprised some people to get to this far. Also, a programming note, the money line magician, our man Josh Harris, going to have to postpone. He's got a meeting scheduled this morning, so he'll have to
with Moose and Rocco.
Reschedule maybe. Yeah, that Wofford money line pick missed by that much. But hey, you got to go out on a limb. You know, sometimes
Thank you, Maxwell.
you got to
Smart.
take a chance.
Yeah.
I mean, Columbus took a chance. You know,
I knew that was coming. When's the last time John said, you got to take a chance? Well, before he was an adult, when he was back in high school and college. Come on, baby.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen?
Take a chance. Yes, right. 9 minutes until the top of the hour. We're in hour number 1 of our live show in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Hey, Marianne from Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry joining us here today. Of course, Marguerite's 8163 Vaughn Road in Peppertree. And Marianne, tell us where you are today. That's a very interesting piece of equipment I see.
Exactly. Yeah. I promise it's not growing out of my head, but this is our microscope. We're not in the science lab, but jewelry, as you know, has lots of different components. And at Marguerite's, we have a fully trained staff. Myself and Benji and Lyle have all gone to GIA, which stands for the Gemological Institute of America. I did my training in Carlsbad, California. Lyle and Benji did their training in New York. And they train us to look at the anatomy of a diamond or the anatomy of a gemstone. So we look through this microscope and we can do other tests like RA and different things with acids and different types of chemicals, and through different types of magnification and UV light, we can tell if a gemstone is in fact natural or synthetic or what type of stone it is. If great grandma had this green stone that she wore every day, we can tell you if it's an emerald or a peridot, lots of different things. But again, just like we've said before, we're a full service jeweler at Marguerite. So we can help you get in the know when it comes to your stone, tell you about the anatomy of your diamond, or tell you what the heck it is.
Yep, that is fantastic, Marianne. A full service jeweler. That's so important. Where you located? Give us your hours of operation so our viewers and listeners can come see you.
Most definitely. 8163 Vaughn Road in the Peppertree Shopping Center. We're close to Chappie's Deli. We're open 7 days a week, 10 to 5:30, Monday through Friday, 10 to 5 on Saturday, and noon to 5 on Sunday.
Go by and see them, folks. Marianne and that staff can help you with all of your jewelry needs. Thanks, Marianne.
Thanks.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. Glad you're with us here on this Monday. Longshore McKnight, presented by Bud Light. We had these other teams that are made the tournament, the Sweet 16 from the SEC. Ole Miss, you mentioned, impressed with them so far in the wins that they've had.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you, I got to give it up to Arkansas. I don't know if Cal's just a tournament coach, but to see what Arkansas has done to this point, I'm pretty impressed with the Razorbacks beating Kansas and then St. John's.
Yeah, I was. We were listening. Our plane landed on Saturday, and we were listening on the radio to Arkansas St. John's, and they played it up big between Cal and Pitino, and St. John's was a 2 seed. Arkansas is a 10. And Arkansas just clamped down on him. I thought it was great. The St. John's star player, somebody mentioned it in the live chat, was like 3 for 17, and Pitino benched him. That was theater right there. Texas Tech probably, along with Alabama, has had the easiest route to get to the Sweet 16. They beat UNC Wilmington and they beat Drake. Thanks for playing, guys. But they've got Arkansas. The best games of the Sweet 16. Auburn, Michigan is going to be really good. Alabama, BYU. I do think Alabama's ripe for the upset. But the one I really can't wait to see, did you know Kentucky and Tennessee, and of course I've seen Kentucky. I broadcast their game on Friday. Kentucky, I don't know, it's a brand new team. 12 new players this year, and they're into the Sweet 16. They have got length. They've got talent. Lamont Butler was the guy's name I couldn't think of before. He's getting healthy again. He's a difference maker, especially defensively. But Kentucky and Tennessee have met each other more than any other teams in the SEC. They have met 241 times. They have never met in the NCAA tournament until they play in the Sweet 16. That's the one I want to see.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one as well. There again, two SEC teams facing off in the Sweet 16. I'm not sure if that has ever happened or how many times it's ever happened where two teams in the SEC have been in the Sweet 16 against one another. But how about this, Barry? What are your initial reactions?
Okay.
Alabama and BYU is the first game in the Sweet 16 Thursday night, 6:09. It'll be nice that Alabama finally gets on CBS after being on True TV and TNT or whatever. Alabama at this moment, a 4.5-point favorite over BYU, a 2 seed against a 6 seed, 4.5-point favorite. The Tide's a favorite there. Then you got the Florida Gators who struggled somewhat against UConn. I'm hearing people saying, Florida struggled to get to the Sweet 16. I still like them.
I do too. Yeah.
I still like Florida.
Bob from Pike Road pointed out they were playing the two-time defending NCAA champions. And I'm telling you, UConn led that game throughout the second half. I mean, UConn controlled that game until they didn't. And at the very end, Florida wins it by 2. That was a gut check. And you've mentioned this before, and I actually think it's one of the best descriptions I've heard about Florida. You've also mentioned it about Auburn. Depending on how you want to play, they can play it. You want to run up and down the court, Florida can run with you. You want to play half court, Florida's got the 2 7-footers that sub in for each other. They can play a half court game. They can play what you want to play. Auburn's the same way. And in the tournament, John, I think that's valuable because A, you got obviously a lot of different styles, and B, you ain't got a ton of time to prepare for everybody out there. So you better be suited for whatever comes on your plate, because you're not going to be able to out X and O somebody in the tournament because nobody has enough time to prepare. So you better be able to do a lot of different things.
Yeah, better, no doubt. Florida, a 6.5-point favorite against Maryland. That's the TBS game on Thursday at 6:39. Then you get into the late shift, if you will. Arizona and Duke. Duke's a 9.5-point favorite against Arizona. Then we got another SEC team, 9:09. 9:09. I don't know if I'm going to finish this on Thursday night, Barry. Arkansas and Texas Tech. The Red Raiders, a 5.5-point favorite in the game. So 2 SEC teams are favorites. One of them is an underdog on Thursday. And then we get into Friday. And, man, you look at the Friday slate, there's a lot of SEC teams on Friday as well. As a matter of fact, there's 4 of the 8 games involve SEC teams.
Including Auburn against Michigan. The first game on Friday, Ole Miss, really like them, against Michigan State. Michigan State, very talented. I've got them just outside the Final Four. Michigan State looks good to me.
I didn't realize Ole Miss that game's in Atlanta. That'll be the game prior to Auburn and Michigan. How about that? Michigan and Michigan State both in Atlanta on Friday. Ole Miss and Michigan State, 6:09. Michigan State, a 2.5-point favorite, just a slight favorite in that game.
Ole Miss, I mean, they look good to me. I saw their game with my own eyes against North Carolina They looked really good. The Alabama game against BYU, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that one's in Newark.
Newark, it is, Barry, and I'm glad you brought that up. Does Alabama, A, did they make somebody mad, or B, do they get bonus points for having to go from Cleveland to Newark?
I broadcast the game from the Newark arena. It's where the New Jersey Devils play, who's probably most famous for being the hockey team that Putty painted his face for in Seinfeld. Couldn't you imagine? Wouldn't it have been much better if Alabama had played in Newark? Auburn and Alabama. I mean, if Alabama had played in Atlanta instead of Newark. But yeah, Michigan State back to back in Atlanta. Forget about it. Then the night game, Purdue against Houston. Houston is one of my other teams. I really like the Cougars, particularly with their ability to defend. To be totally honest, I really don't see this Sweet 16 with anybody who doesn't belong there. I mean,
I'm with you.
To me, maybe if I can think real hard, I can think of an exception or two, but these are the 16 teams who probably most deserve to be there.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'm with you there. Looking at that Purdue-Houston game, Purdue beat Alabama this year in a matchup. Alabama
in Birmingham
beat Houston, if I recall. But, Ole Miss, a 2.5-point underdog to Michigan State. Tennessee's the favorite in this all-SEC matchup. They're a 4.5-point favorite taking on Kentucky. That game's in Indianapolis. Auburn, a 7.5-point favorite over Michigan, a 5 seed. Tigers, a little over a touchdown favorite. And then Houston, 7.5 against Purdue. So
now
those are the early lines. They'll probably be close to that as we get to tip off. But Alabama, should I say, only a 4.5-point favorite? I mean, does that sound about right? I mean, is the Tide not getting enough respect? Just a 4.5-point favorite?
I don't know. I like that. It just, in case you're wondering what BetMGM says.
Yeah.
John always brings this up about what Vegas says. The clear favorite to win the championship, according to BetMGM, is the Duke Blue Devils. Whatever this means, Duke is plus 225.
Okay.
That is a clear favorite. I mean, I don't know what the numbers mean, but I know the differences in the numbers. Duke is plus 225 to win the championship. Florida has the second best odds at plus 350.
Okay. Where's Auburn listed?
Houston is at plus 500.
Okay. Wow.
And Auburn is at plus 525. Those are the only teams with better than 17-1 odds to win the national championship.
Barry, if sports wagering was legal in the state of Alabama, which we certainly hope it will be extremely soon, I would have to put up $100 to win 525 that Auburn's going to win the national championship. I mean, to me, that's a good bet. I like Auburn to win the national title, and if I put up 100 to win 525, I might put up more than 100.
Okay.
Just think, you put up 1,000 and you win 5,250.
Yeah, but you can also lose 1,000.
We know that. But hey,
Columbus took a chance. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I'm looking at the positives. Barry, that's kind of like, we don't need to play them. We might lose. You can't have that mentality.
Yes.
You don't go to the window going, I'm going to give you this 100, but we might lose.
There is a good question.
Up to the blackjack, to the dice table going, I know it's my roll, but I'll probably crap out.
Yeah, I do. John brings up a good point. John Dent. He asked, did Kentucky beat Tennessee twice this year? They did. They beat him in Knoxville by 5, and then they won in Lexington by 11 against Tennessee. They'll meet again. You know what they say, John? It's really difficult to beat a team 3 times in a year.
So here again, I'm putting up $100 to win 225 that Duke wins the national championship. But I put up 100 to win 525 if Auburn wins it. I mean, to me, there's a lot of value in Auburn at 525. So Auburn's got to beat Michigan. They got to beat the old Michigan State winner. Then they're in the Final Four, probably playing.
Hang on.
Florida? Where's Florida on that list?
Florida, they're not. They're number 2. Duke at plus 225. Florida at plus 350.
At plus 350. Okay.
Yeah,
so
Houston plus 500. Auburn plus 525. They would play. I agree. In that bracket down there on the bottom of the bracket is Florida, Maryland, Texas Tech, and Arkansas. I really like Florida against that draw. So Auburn, Florida in the Final Four.
I am not far from the Mississippi state line from where I'm broadcasting today.
Yeah.
I might have to go over and place a legal wager at Auburn plus 525. This is amazing.
I could just see John walking over there. I don't know. Biloxi. Walking in there. I'm sure John has a few personal favorites in Biloxi. And I'm not talking about the casino. I'm talking about the guy behind. Hey, Silvio. Hey, man, it's been a while, hadn't it? Yeah, at least a month.
Actually, it's Tony. My casino host is Tony.
Yeah.
I'll text Tony and say, Tony, I'm on my way. Oh, I'll have a room waiting for you, Mr. L.
Mr. L, yeah. I like that. I could just see John walking over there and like, oh, well, what's it all about? And Tony says, shut up with the what's it all about. You know what you're doing. Go ahead. What do you got?
I'm saying, Tony, what do you think about Auburn at plus 525? He's going to say, love it, Mr. L. Let's go fire down on it.
Now, bear in mind, John could say, hey, Tony, what do you think about Norfolk State? Love it. Go for it, Mr. L.
Yeah, you're right about that. But man, that just, woo. Can I get some reaction from Range Pro and Straw Boy? What do y'all think about Auburn at plus 525?
Yeah.
Man, you killing me?
Somebody throws this one at me. Arkansas, again, they're the lowest seed remaining. They're the closest thing there is to a Cinderella, but Coach Cal and an SEC team ain't no Cinderella. Arkansas has gotten to the Sweet 16 by beating, Arkansas's had the toughest route.
Yep.
They had to beat Kansas. They had to beat St. John's. Compare Kansas and St. John's to your route to the Final Four versus Robert Morris and St. Mary's. Doesn't that seem a little unfair? Well, Arkansas, they're in the Sweet 16 under Coach Calipari in his first year. How's this for a fun fact? Impress your friends around the water cooler today. Calipari has more NCAA wins in his first season with Arkansas than he had across his final 4 seasons at Kentucky. In his last 4 years at Kentucky, he won 1 NCAA tournament game. And again, he lost to St. Peter's. He lost to Oakland. That's a great note. I like that one quite a bit.
That is a good note. Here's another one, Barry. You mentioned Tennessee's beaten Kentucky twice already. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a year. Alabama beat Kentucky 3 times this year. Kentucky is in the Sweet 16. Hey, so there's something positive about the Tide.
And that's what's funny about it, because not only did Alabama beat Kentucky, that was in the SEC tournament, they beat the absolute dog slaughter out of Kentucky. I mean, it was a 29-point win. And Kentucky, at the end of that game, they were going through the motions. They were ready to get home. That did not, at that time, look like a team that was primed to go to the Sweet 16. They looked like a team that was primed to go back to the house and, put their feet up and watch the rest of the tournament by themselves. Go figure.
Mal's got a good one here, too. And I noticed this as well, Mal. Gene Sterator, he's like the officiating guy in the booth with the broadcast of team. Does he know the rule of every sport? Because I thought he was the football rules official.
Mal asks, he says, why is Gene Steratore giving basketball officiating advice? He was a football official. By the way, he's wrong. The Maryland player traveled. Yeah, he did. But Steratore was a basketball official for a long time. They had a great picture on one of the telecasts when Steratore was working, I think last week sometime, where I'm here to tell you, I think it was Matt Painter, the head coach at Purdue, I could be wrong, was absolutely giving him the business. I mean, sweat flying, face red and everything, and Steratore on the other side. He was a basketball official too, just sitting there, just taking it, man, just taking it. Now, the only thing I can, and again, I think he was a really good official. He was a basketball official probably for longer than he was a football official. Really good. I do think the Maryland player traveled. I do. But in this day and age, John, does anybody call traveling anymore? In Gene Steratore's defense, good gosh, I've seen more traveling. I've seen guys catch the ball 2 feet, pick up the pivot foot, fake left, pick up the other foot, which is no longer your pivot foot, throw right. I've seen guys palming the back. I think the ratio is probably 60% palming on every dribble to 40% not palming anymore. I'd have a terrible time calling traveling as it exists these days.
I uttered those words many times watching these games over the last several days. Travel! Yeah. And they wouldn't blow the whistle. So it looked like traveling to me. So maybe they're not calling it as tight as they have in the past. Another thing that I found interesting, and we talked about this in the regular season, it's not to the extent of the NBA continuation rule, which I don't know why they ever got rid of that. I love the continuation rule, but it's close to it because I've seen a lot of these. Guy gets fouled, and it seems like it takes a little longer for him to actually make the motion to shoot the shot, and it goes in or doesn't. Oh, yeah, he's fouled, goes in the one. It used to be a lot tighter in my mind. You had to foul him right there, and then they makes the shot.
Yeah.
Now they're giving him a little time.
Yeah, the idea is, are you fouling while the person is either in shooting motion, or, shooting the shot, or gathering himself to shoot the shot? To be honest, Troy has a really good player named Miles Rigsby. He got that call against Kentucky, and I love Miles. He's a great young man. But I'm looking at Jerry, I'm thinking, ooh, I don't know. Because, he didn't know, question he got fouled, and no question he was on his way to the basket, and he got fouled hard, and he just threw it up, spun it off the glass, and it went through, and the referee goes like that. And I said, all right, okay. It felt like about 3 seconds between when the contact came and when he shot the ball. But, again, I would hate to have to referee nowadays because the rules when we were playing, hand on top of the basketball at all times, man, that ain't a thing. And they make fun of you if you dribble with your hand on top of your basketball now.
So, Barry, I don't watch a lot of women's basketball, but Kirk says they call traveling a lot in the ladies' game. I don't know, Kirk. Maybe
I don't know. I do know this. Two-time Caller of the Year, JD, is live from Lake Charles, Louisiana, home of the round of 32 participant McNeese State Cowboys. He says, live from Lake Charles, Louisiana, that REC Blue Hair calls traveling every possession in the Coleman Airport hangar. Yeah, I've kind of made fun of that.
About? Yeah.
I've done a lot. REC. What's
he talking about?
Yeah, I used to, I used to do a lot of games at Coleman Coliseum back when, the men's team was not good. And you always had those old boys over there that were sitting over there in the corner. This is back before they had the media scar that John hates up there in the stands. And they were just there so they can get a little quiet so they can talk football together. And about every possession defensively, their only contribution to the ambiance at Coleman Coliseum was to yell out, "He walked! He's walking! 3 seconds! 3 seconds!" Over and over and over again, because that's all they knew about basketball, except they knew what day was official football visit day, where they take them to the basketball game. So they can say, hey,
that's what they talked about at halftime, Barry.
That's that quarterback, right? That's that quarterback from Durham, North Carolina. What's his name? Billy.
They'd
Billy
go up
Gray.
into the portals and the aisles and the concourse and talk football recruiting at halftime. Then they'd go home. Then they wouldn't even come back to watch the second half.
Yeah.
So speaking
you're
of
not
basketball,
wrong, JD.
Barry's the Lady Tide still in the tournament?
I hate it when you ask me questions just top of your head. You
You
know,
know, we were talking.
I'll ask
Somebody said
Barry.
something about women's basketball. I think I saw an article in the paper that Jay Barker's daughter had a good game or something. I
she's
didn't
a
read the
player.
article. I just saw the headline, and so I assumed that the Lady Tide was still in the tournament. I think they
number one
beat
again.
Green
They
Bay.
ain't Lady Tide, but
They beat Green Bay, I think, Friday
Green
or
Bay
Saturday,
Phoenix.
I believe. Yeah.
Let's see. Alabama beat Green Bay by 14 on Saturday. So they
still in.
I guess they are. They should have played again, though, don't you think? Wouldn't you imagine? Looking
Maybe today, since they played on Saturday, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, I guess so.
I just thought
they
I'd give a
take
little
on.
love.
They do. They take on Alabama's a 5 seed. They take on number 4 seed Maryland. 4 o'clock today. There
The
you
Lady
go. 4
Turks.
o'clock today in the second round of the NCAA women's basketball tournament. It's a little bit different in the women's tournament because they're actually playing this game at Maryland.
You know, Barry, some women's basketball, it flows good. It sounds good. The Lady Vols, the Lady Tide, the Lady Terps doesn't do it for me.
Yeah,
I don't
Lady
like that
Terps.
one. The Lady
Well, it's like
Terps.
Oklahoma State. They call them the Cowgirls.
Yeah.
You know, it's on ESPN this afternoon at 4 o'clock if you want to check it
Turtles.
out. Yeah.
All right, Barry, when we come back, tell me this did not happen. Tell me this did not happen. I'll ask the question when we return.
There we go. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
Introducing Budweiser Zero. 0% alcohol, 0 grams of sugar. Full Budweiser flavor. A refreshing alcohol-free brew that tastes like the real thing. Budweiser Zero. 0 alcohol, 0 compromise.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
Okay, welcome back in. About 20 minutes past the hour on this Monday. The Phantom's Daily Dog here in just a moment. Gurn Jr.'s Victoryland topic wheel. The Victoryland 777 topic wheel. Gurn's going to get that loaded up for us later on.
Nothing against, the way it was handled before. But I like it when Gern brings up the topics.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I like to be
Yep.
surprised a little bit. So
Yep.
Gern's going to hence Gern Jr.'s Victorland 777 topic wheel.
Yeah, it's now officially. It's like it's like some of those things where like Dolly Parton's Dixie Stampede or something like that.
Barry, it's almost like what we used to do back in the day, stump the host. This way, we're not real sure what Gern's going to throw out on the topic
so
wheel.
it's always
We got to be on
top
our
of our
toes.
head. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to be on our
Kirk
toes.
says-
Now, he does end up giving us a little, info about what the topic has to do with. We have to guess before he puts it on the screen, which is kind of fun.
Kirk asks a couple of questions. He says, "You guys don't like women's basketball? Is it because Auburn and Alabama don't usually do well?" Look, Kirk, as a matter of fact, I'm doing a women's basketball game tonight. Check me out on ESPN Plus. Well, no, I'm doing the radio tonight, but it's I'm doing radio for Troy versus Chattanooga in women's basketball in the WNIT. I've done about 400 women's basketball games in my lifetime, probably more. I've done a national championship game in women's basketball. I've done the SEC tournament on television for women's basketball. Kirk, I love it.
Kirk,
and I bet and to your point, John and I remember when Auburn and Alabama did well. I was there right before Andy Burcham got there at Auburn when Auburn played for the national championship against Louisiana Tech at the Tacoma Dome.
What a tough loss.
Joe Champy, golly. Well, it was the first of 3 straight championship game losses. Alabama, Rick Moody, some of those players. Kidding me? Madonna Thompson. Yep.
Both of my daughters played basketball in high school, so I'm down with the ladies' game.
Were they shooters like their dad?
Oh, you better believe it. They didn't pass it very much.
Were they makers unlike their dad?
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah,
my oldest daughter had a pretty good set shot. She could hit the 3.
Nice.
But the thing about the ladies' game, and we've talked about this. To me, it's a pure form of game of basketball. The picks, the rolls, the passes, the screens. It's not not above the rim, all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of a game that I can relate to because I certainly couldn't jump. I think the ladies' game is fun, particularly during the tournament time, Kurt. So don't get us wrong. Don't get us wrong there.
All right.
All right. Let me make sure I saw and heard this correctly. Now, we're not here to compare. We never have done that on this program, but some people think it's comparing because I'll say, well, did it happen here? Did it happen there? Did they do that? Did they do this? I have not checked to see. Number 3 child is a freshman at the University
of Alabama,
the capstone.
Yeah.
So I do not know if
Alabama Tuscaloosa
rushed University Boulevard, known as the Strip, to celebrate Alabama's Sweet 16 appearance for the third year in a row. But am I seeing and reading this correctly that the Auburn students rolled Toomer's Corner because Auburn made the Sweet 16?
I don't know. I don't get as sensitized to rolling Toomer's Corner as John does. Anytime something positive happens at Auburn, that's the first thing John asked me. Did they roll Toomer's Corner? John, they won a robotics competition.
They need to limit it. They need to do it when something really big happens because I think there's bigger things on the horizon for Auburn basketball than the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
But yes, I do understand that. And I would not have known this, Barry, unless some people that have a unique text number and texted me the fact that they rolled Toomer's Corner. I might not have known that. But really?
I cannot confirm or deny because I have not even thought.
If they make the final 8,
that.
Are they going to roll it again? That would be my question. If they beat Michigan, make it to the grade A, is that coming? Look, I'm not here to knock down a tradition that other people might enjoy.
if it makes their day better and it puts a smile on their face and all that kind of good
Who
stuff.
are we
Yeah.
to poo-poo on that,
I'm just wondering, just asking. Was a Sweet 16 berth toilet paper worthy?
I say no. Sweet 16? No. You get to the Final Four? Yeah, you win it. And man, Toomer's Corner's trees ought to be buried in toilet paper if you win it. Curtis says, when Bama fans starts complaining about Auburn's traditions, they are truly envious that their school doesn't do the same. That's why they got the Walk of Champions copycat. Next, they'll be rolling.
Nobody's complaining here, Curtis.
Yeah.
We're just asking.
Yeah.
Why would you roll Toomer's Corner for a Sweet 16 berth? Envious?
Uh-oh,
Okay.
there's the yeah, sure, Curtis, whatever gets
If that makes you feel better.
Yeah, yes, sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Dadgummit. Yeah, I should have had that. There was a guy in the Florida UConn game. Again, UConn controlled it up until the very end when the Gators got hot. There was a guy, and I can't remember what the over. I think the over was like 150 in that game. And they had a guy named Liam McNeely for UConn. And all he's doing is shooting threes at the end. 9 points for Liam McNeely in the final 11 seconds to get the final. He's plays for UConn to get the final score to 77-75. That game was so far under the total that nobody was even paying attention to it after that. Liam McNeely hits 3 threes in the final 11 seconds, and it hits the over. I mean, he hit a three at 1.3 seconds to go in a game that they were not going to win. They were 2 possessions down. Cashes in the over. For some of you guys out there, some of you degenerates, do the right thing. Spread a little appreciation over to Liam McNeely.
Yeah.
When you cash in betting that over. Do the right thing.
It's kind of like Michigan State hitting that mid-court shot to win the game and cover for the Phantoms Daily Dog earlier this year. Barry, I saw it happen in the NBA. Reggie Miller hit 3 threes in 13 seconds. I didn't think anybody could ever do it in less time than that, but I've been proven wrong.
The ultimate bad beat on SVP. Woo. The guy hits a 60-footer at the horn. Not only does Maryland lose, Michigan State covers, but SVP is a Maryland alum, and he had to feature that on his program over and over and over again. Oh,
love
the ultimate bad beat.
Oh, it's awesome. Speaking of bad beats, Bear, it's a great segue for the Phantoms Daily Dog.
What do we got?
On Friday, we're talking about these UConn Huskies. We had Oklahoma catching 5.5, taking on UConn. I'm not sure. The only time this game was within 5.5 was before the first 6 points were scored, I believe. Oklahoma just did not show out for the SEC on Friday. It was not good.
It was not.
Didn't happen.
Do we want to go into exactly how bad it was, or can we just
go ahead?
Can we just move along in that one?
I think we have to do it justice.
Yeah, Oklahoma. Their performance was lacking. UConn, I think I'm right, led pretty much throughout.
Oh, yeah. You think?
And Oklahoma, this is an 8 versus 9 game. These are supposed to be the closest ones.
Oh, yeah.
UConn ends up winning it by 8 in that game, 67-59. Yeah. The Oklahoma Sooners, one of the few SEC teams that was out by the weekend.
Barry, we talked about it earlier. Don't let the score fool you. Don't let the score fool you.
It was never
dominated.
It was never going to happen.
All right, so you're ready for today's Daily Dog?
All right, no NCAA games. Will it
No.
be Lady Tide versus the Terps at 4:00 on ESPN? Will we go NBA for the Phantoms Dog of the Day?
I was looking at the sheet today, Barry. I'll tell you, I'm not real familiar with the CBI quarterfinal games. We have Incarnate
out of
Word
town. You're throwing
at
the
Jacksonville,
the CBI,
Army at Florida Gulf Coast, and Queens University at Cleveland State. Point spreads attached to all three of those contests today.
The Phantom is resorting to the CBI.
No. I'm not. I want to make that perfectly clear. I am not.
I have to know. I have to know what to Google. Yeah.
I will give you a hint. We're in the NBA. Where is Florida? Is Florida Gulf Coast? Where are they located?
That is in Fort Myers. A young lady we used to talk about every once in a while. My sister Jenny's best friend, Tyler Layton. Doug Layton's daughter used to do color for Alabama, really close to their family. She used to teach theater down at Florida Gulf Coast. Yeah, great campus. Fort Myers.
This is the Gulf of America Gulf Coast, correct?
Correct.
Is that the Gulf? Okay. Just want to make sure we're talking about the right
Gulf. It's not
Gulf.
the Persian Gulf. Yes.
All right. Okay. So I said, just don't know a lot about Incarnate Word, Florida Gulf Coast, Queens University. So I flipped over to the association. Oh, some great games tonight in the NBA. A lot of good key matchups. Yep.
I always like to try to jump the route a little bit and see what he sees. Will it be Bulls Nuggets? Will it be Celtics Kings?
I'll give you this, Barry. It's a late tip-off. It's a late tip-off tonight. It is on NBA TV. If you've got it, it is Milwaukee at Phoenix with a 9 p.m. tip-off tonight.
Suns have been bar none, the most disappointing team in the NBA. They spent so much money in the offseason to re-up Devin Booker. They bought Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal. They are 3 games under 500. Oh,
that is true.
And they're playing at home against the Bucks.
They are 3 games under 500. They are on a 3-game winning streak, though. They've won their last 3.
All right.
The Bucks on a winning streak. They've won their last 2. Take that for what it's worth. But I'm with you with Phoenix. I don't think that they have lived up to their hype, if you will. So we like the Bucks have won their last 2, as a matter of fact. They beat the Lakers and the Sacramento Kings in their last 2. They're a little West Coast swing.
They're 10 games over 500. Plus, they had the added karma of yours truly getting his picture taken by the Giannis Antetokounmpo poster at their arena on Thursday.
And don't think we're not factoring that all in, because we like the Bucks catching points tonight. They're catching 3.5 at Phoenix. The Milwaukee Bucks plus 3.5 at the Phoenix Suns. That is the Phantoms Daily Dog for Monday.
That may be my favorite Daily Dog so far. That is strong. Love that one. How in the world? Anyway, Phantom never asked,
NBA TV.
Are you sure you want to have that point spread? The Phantom just says, hey, that's what you got. That's what we'll play.
That's what I got. That's what we're going to go with. You better believe it. So that's the Daily Dog. Certainly more SEC teams that we want to get into. The Gurn Jr. Victorland 777 topic wheel approaching as well within the next 27 minutes.
And do you agree with John's bald-faced open assertion that this Alabama basketball team, which opens up the Sweet 16 in Newark, New Jersey, on Thursday at 6:09 against BYU on CBS, that Alabama team has no chance. Not in this game, not that, but no chance to win the national championship. They're not winning the national.
Well, I'll say this: is there a number for Alabama to win it? We've got what you got, Gimme.
Duke,
I gave you
Florida,
4.
Houston, and Auburn.
Yes.
What are Alabama? Is there a number for Alabama? You would think every Sweet 16. I mean, I can look it up. I just know if you had it at your fingertips.
I do not.
I would think every Sweet 16 team would have a number attached to them.
We can
Barry, I'm getting some people on the River Region Straw text hotline saying they'll hold my $100. No way Auburn's winning the national championship. They want to take my action.
Let me hold your $100. Yeah, that sounds suspect. Right now, Alabama at the moment, they're down the list.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. Alabama plus, again, Duke is plus 275, Florida plus 300, Auburn plus 500, Houston plus 500, Auburn at plus 525. Alabama plus 2,000. Now the opening odds when the tournament bracket was announced, matchups and all that. When the tournament bracket was announced, Alabama opened the tournament at plus 1,200. Now currently plus 2,000.
Barry, I'm not going to pull a fathead 100 out of my wallet to win $2,000 on Alabama because they're not going to do it. They're not winning the national championship. Auburn, though, I think I got a better chance to do it. Not saying they are, but I like their chances.
Better chances.
Even better. I'll find some value. All right, so Bill wants to know, will the Phantom do baseball on his daily dog? Bill, I can't speak for the Phantom, but I would probably say since there's 162 or 3 regular season.
Very nice.
2?
Yeah.
162 baseball games. I got to think there's going to be some days that the Phantom is going to take some baseball. But don't get ahead of yourself. I believe the UFL is starting this week. Just saying.
It is.
Get ready for some UFL action, Bill.
That UFL money spends just as good as that NFL money when you're a winner. Let's take a break.
Right.
24 minutes left in our live show in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air rallies for you. No matter the problem, Dixie will tackle it. They're licensed and trusted electricians, plumbers, air and garage door technicians are ready to win for you. From toilets to garbage disposals, circuit breakers to HVAC systems, Dixie never fumbles. Don't throw away your hard-earned money on second-string contracting companies. Score big with Dixie. After all, they are your biggest fan. Visit calldixie.com or dial them up locally at 262-2946.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market offers the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of Mexico with deliveries daily. Snapper, grouper, pompano, flounder, copia, along with medium, large, and jumbo shrimp, hand-picked crab meat, and chucked oysters. They can even cook your order for easy, quick pickup. The Destin Connection can make a po' boy with any of their seafood items that folks in New Orleans rave about. Go by and see them at 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call 288-4272 for pickup orders.
Okay, welcome back in, everybody. About 22 minutes until the top of the hour. Longshore McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy in association with our good friends at Yellowhammer News. Check us out at yellowhammernews.com and all the great content available there with news, politics, sports, lifestyle, yellowhammernews.com. And there's also a write-up about our show each and every afternoon. You can check that out as well. And good folks, really appreciate our association with Yellowhammer News. All right, so before we get to the Victoryland 777 topic, Will, we talked about Auburn and Alabama a lot today. Ole Miss,
I just here again. I got to tell you, I don't know if they can get past Michigan State. Maybe I've just with Coach Izzo and all that. I just think, can Ole Miss really knock off Michigan State? I got to think more about that one. Arkansas, I think, is kind of one of these Cinderella teams. Coming in as a 10 seed. Cal with the experience. I could see them beating the Texas Tech. That would not surprise me. Can Tennessee beat Kentucky for the third straight time? Alabama's done it.
Like Philip Marshall right there.
Yeah,
Wow.
I just, can they? Only time will tell.
Only time.
And Bama.
Yeah.
I guess they can beat BYU. They're going to have to tighten up, as we talked about. For Alabama to beat BYU, they cannot play as sloppy as I've seen them play.
BYU can shoot the three. They're really good offensively. In case you haven't checked, Alabama has struggled on the defensive end. Again, that'll be CBS on Thursday night. Brian Anderson, Jim Jackson, Ali LaForce on the CBS call. Auburn the next day. They take on Michigan. Ian Eagle, Bill Raftery, Grant Hill, Tracy Wolfson, the A-team.
The A-team.
Also, before we get jump too far on, I'm really interested in trying to figure this out. Last year, in their very first year in the Southeastern Conference, what the Oklahoma Sooners got was a great big old bracing, skin-tightening, chin-chilling splash of reality.
They did.
In the SEC, to the tune of 6-7 overall. They were 2-6 in the SEC, but their 2 wins in the SEC,
they were big.
Auburn and Alabama. That was it.
Yep.
To add to the misery, they played in a bowl game at 6-6, and they lose to Navy. In the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl last year, despite a win over Auburn and despite a win over Alabama, the 2 SEC games Oklahoma did win, they still struggled last year. And will anything be better this year in Norman?
It's interesting. Oklahoma and Vanderbilt had something in common last football season. Both beat Auburn and Alabama.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I forgot about
did.
that.
All right, so here's how I like to do it, Barry. As we look at Oklahoma for 2025, I like to go through the non-conference games first. Who is on their non-conference schedule so we can go ahead and mark some wins in?
It's like 4 non-conference games, and it's like blah, wow, blah, blah.
So I think they can win 3 of the 4. I'm looking. Michigan wasn't a world beater last year. They kind of came. As a matter of fact, Michigan had a big bowl win. Maybe that catapults them into a great 2025.
Yeah,
who knows?
They closed this season really well with a win over the eventual national champions and a win over a team that won national championships these many years ago. So they go into the offseason with some momentum, but they play that game.
They do.
They open up against the Illinois State Redbirds in Norman. Then they've got Michigan in Norman. I don't think they beat Michigan.
Total 6.5. Well, 6.5 is the over-under wins for Oklahoma.
Okay. We have gotten to late.
They're playing at Temple?
That is true. On week 3, September 13th, at Lincoln Financial Field. They want to expose their program to a large population base.
All right, so I'm thinking, what do I do about Michigan?
Oh, they ain't beating Michigan. I can ease your mind about
they're not beating Michigan.
Yeah.
All right, so they're going to come into their first conference game of the year 2-1, losing to Michigan, beating Illinois State and Temple before they welcome in
the Auburn Tigers.
And they welcome, and they'll call that Jackson Arnold's return game. The former Oklahoma quarterback, his first SEC game as the starting quarterback for the Auburn Tigers will be against his old team, and it'll be in Norman. Well, let me check my notes. What did I have? I had Auburn winning that game at Oklahoma. So they go to 2-2 in my book through the first four before they get to the off week.
Who are they losing to besides Michigan?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, they're losing to Michigan and they're losing to Auburn.
Okay, so you got them 2-2. Then
2-2.
Kent State rolls around. They'll be 3-2 after that.
Yeah, and then
then they go to Texas.
5.
3-3.
5 straight really tough games.
Ooh, so
Texas in Dallas.
after Texas
at the fairgrounds, at South Carolina, and don't miss them. South Carolina will be a preseason top 10 team in Columbia, by the way.
Does Brent Venables make the game in Knoxville? Woo! Because if he loses to Texas, if he's already lost to Michigan and Auburn, and he loses to Texas and South Carolina, and Ole Miss beats them in North, he ain't losing all those games.
So, well, you've got Kent State, and when they win Kent State at home, they'll be 3-2. After that, John, 5 straight games against ranked teams, maybe 6, depending on when Missouri rolls around. They've got Texas and Dallas, South Carolina on the road, Ole Miss in Norman, and Tennessee on the road before an off week, and then they've got Alabama on the road. And the Crimson Tide, they're not likely to forget.
Yeah, an off week before they go to Tuscaloosa. I wonder how that worked out. Yeah, that seems odd.
Yeah.
They're going to beat Missouri. They're not going to beat LSU. I hate to say they're going under 6.5, but I'm not sure I can find 7 wins on this team.
That's the way I've got to look at it. I don't count the losses. I look at the number and say, okay, can they? Where are their 7 wins? John, I don't see it. I see 5, maybe 6. And 6, once and always, will be less than 6.5.
Yeah, I got to go under 6.5. I just can't find that 7th win for the Oklahoma Sooners. You're right. I mean, that's a juggernaut of Texas, South Carolina. They're at Texas. They're in Dallas. They're at South Carolina. They're at Tennessee. They're at Alabama. By that time, they might have a new head coach by the time Missouri and LSU show up.
They'll have somebody interim, and that'll mess up everything. And then they'll just be going through the motions.
Yeah, I'm going. I believe we're both going under 6.5.
Correct. I do hate it because I love those storied blue blood helmet programs almost as much as about 3/4 maybe about 60% as much as John does. But it's just sad to see Oklahoma struggling like they are, especially when I think Brent Venables is a really good football coach.
Yeah, it's been tough there in Norman. All right, so who's next? South Carolina is tomorrow.
That'll be interesting.
My alphabet is correct. In South Carolina,
just in case you do like playing along, so to speak, the total for South Carolina, if you want to go ahead and formulate your opinions there. The total for South Carolina, 5.5?
Seems a little low off the
can't give you guys any hints on how we're thinking.
Seems a little low. We'll see. Okay, I know the topic wheel is up and loaded. Do we need to take another break before the topic wheel? I get lost on break.
Yeah, let's take a break. And then take the topic wheel. We'll ride it until the dawn. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Well, the Crimson Tide and the Auburn Tigers are really hot in college basketball, and so are the deals at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville. Alabama and Northwest Florida's largest volume Ram truck dealer. is Stivers in Prattville. And at Stivers, they have the largest selection of Ram trucks priced at thousands less than other dealers. How about a 2025 Ram Bighorn 4x4 crew cab with savings of up to $15,000 off sticker price? Also at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, they have fantastic savings on the entire Jeep lineup, like the Wranglers and Jeep Grand Cherokees. Head over to Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram today on Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville, where Price sells cars and trucks.
All right, man, grab a Budweiser and take a knee. It is the best time of the year. It's baseball season. That means sunshine. It means behind-the-back peanut tosses. And it means sharing some cold, frosty Budweisers with your boys. Because there's nothing more American than watching America's game with America's beer. So let me ask you something. Are you ready to bring your A game? Are you ready to cheer every frozen rope down the line and amazing catch at the warning track? Are you ready for pitchers' duels and slugfests? Tell me, are you ready for the thrill of an incredible walk-off victory? I can't hear you. Are you ready for Budweiser and baseball? Then get on your feet, raise an ice-cold Bud, and let's make this season larger than life. Great times are waiting. Get some Bud!
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Book tee time sooner. Save on every round. That's what you get with the 2025 RTJ Trail Card. Destination golf is closer than you might think. Buy a 2025 Trail Card and save every time you play. Plus, you will be automatically entered into the Trails Loyalty Program. Enjoy 10-day advance reservation privileges at each location. 11-day advanced internet tee times on rtjgolf.com and the RTJ app. Enjoy the benefits of a 2025 Trail Card. It makes for a great stocking stuffer, and you save on every round you play in 2025 on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail. All righty, welcome back in, everybody. A couple of minutes to the top of the hour. Robbie has awoken. He is with us today.
Yep.
Thank you, Robbie.
He says, great win for Alabama Sunday against the number one rebounding team in America. 6 players who finished in double figures. Defense was outstanding versus St. Mary's. BYU, though, will provide a challenge. Sorry about the Troy loss to Kentucky in the NCAA tournament. Troy trailed by 1 with 4 minutes left in the first half, but give Kentucky defense credit. Still an outstanding season for the Trojans. Coach Cross proved me wrong.
Oh, Robbie, wow.
There you go.
How about that?
I'm glad Robbie didn't hear the earlier part of the show when I was kind of giving my critique of Alabama basketball. He probably would not have liked hearing that. Okay.
John says he thinks Alabama doesn't have a prayer of getting
no way they make the Final Four, Robbie. I'm going to go ahead and let you know that right now. All right, the Gurn Jr. Victorland 777 topic wheel is loaded.
Okay,
Chris the Bammer cannot wait.
Here we go.
He is going to spin it. What in the world could we have today? There it goes, round and round. Where it stops, nobody knows.
All right. Horns down.
Horns down. Okay.
Is it Texas's search? Yeah, what do we got? Yeah, Rodney Terry will not return as Texas head coach. It hurts my heart because Byron Jones, who was an assistant at Troy, was on that staff. Xavier's Sean Miller is expected to be among Chris Del Conte's top candidates for the Longhorn job. I had heard that they were after, somebody had sent me something that seemed to intimate that the reports were that Texas was going to go after a $5 million coach who won 25 games this year.
Yeah, somebody sent that to me, Barry. I just forwarded it to you. I thought you'd get
that was from you. Yeah,
that was from me. The thing I liked about it the most was my little addendum. Bucky McMillan on line 1. I'm holding out for Bucky McMillan.
You know how much the Bama fans luxuriated in talking about Gus Malzahn being a high school coach.
Yeah.
I'm sure their take on the quality of high school coaching will change if they were to hire Bucky McMillan. And again, ESPN, local outlets in Cincinnati, where Xavier is, USA Today, are all reporting that Sean Miller will be the head coach at Texas. He's at Xavier.
Hey, Bama fans, you can exhale now. No worries.
I don't know that that's a good hire for Texas, to be honest with you. I don't know.
I don't know much
think
about
so.
that guy, so
Yeah.
I can't comment.
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
That was a good one. That was a good one there. All right, let's.
Yeah.
These topics seem to be a lot better than the ones that I used to put up there. I will say that. Oh, giddy. Oh, this is a phrase I love to use. What could this be about? This be about rolling Toomer's corner, maybe? Oh.
This is probably about, Josh Giddey.
Oh, Josh.
Yeah, Josh Giddey plays in the NBA. He's from Australia. His numbers are okay. 14 points a game, 8 rebounds. He came very close to a quadruple double the other night.
Quadruple double. I don't know what a triple double is. Points, assists, and rebounds. What's a quadruple?
Let me see if I can get the exact numbers. He plays for the Bulls. They beat the Lakers, but then again, who didn't? Theotis. He's not talking about Geddy Lee, the lead singer for Rush, although it may come up. Josh Giddey, 15 points, 10 rebounds, 17 assists, and 8 steals. He was only 2 steals away from a quadruple double. Josh Giddey. Have you never heard of him?
Again,
no, of course you have
I'm just curious. I'm not looking to look this up, but I'm just curious if there's how many quadruple doubles have ever been in the NBA.
I can't say that there ever has been.
I don't think so either.
He might.
And I got to tell you, bro, I never heard of that guy, but I don't watch a lot of Chicago Bull basketball since.
Yeah.
Left.
Josh Giddey. He's 6'7", so he's not a little giddy. He's
not a little giddy.
Yeah, no,
not at all.
He is not. So there you go, nearing a quadruple triple double against the Lakers. He played college basketball at where did he play?
Did you say he was Australian?
Yeah, he's from Australia. I guess he did.
I'm going to go with
I guess he played college
Melbourne.
Basketball in
Brisbane.
Yeah.
Christchurch. No, that's New Zealand.
In Colorado. Yeah.
All right,
okay.
let's Chris says spin it. Okay, Chris, hold on.
Yeah, we're running out of time, Chris says. Okay.
Let's see where it comes up here. Oh, whoa, had a little glitch there in the wheel. Huh. Milroe.
Who could he be talking about?
Jalen Milroe, who I think had pro day last week. I know the Pittsburgh Steelers took him out for dinner. Don't know where they dined when they were there. But Jalen Milroe, I'm still, without even knowing what Gurn's going to put up here, I'm still not confident this guy's going to be a high draft pick. And what I mean by that, first or second round.
Is it the fact that the mock draft has the Raiders? The mock draft from NFL.com has Milroe going to the third round to the Raiders. Let's see. What is he headlining? It's too small.
Yeah,
I can't read it.
I would say that he had the best passing grade beyond 40 yards in college football. Well, no duh.
Yeah, here it is.
Did.
Alabama.
But he just couldn't throw the short over the middle route or a flare out route to a running back. Yeah, he can throw the ball a mile.
They had evidently a pro day. This is what I'm guessing, a pro day at the University of Alabama late last week, maybe Friday.
I think, Thursday or Friday.
In Tuscaloosa, 4.37 40-yard dash. which is the second best ever recorded by a quarterback behind Vic. Vic ran a 4.33 in that one. Others had team scouts had readings that weren't quite 4.37. 3 of them had Milroe at 4.45. Another one had him at 4.44. One guy with a thing had him at 4.37. So there you go.
How Raider-esque is that, Barry, that the Raiders would draft Jalen Milroe?
3rd round.
Do we have time for one more spin?
One more. Let's do it. Why
just,
not?
Just chomping at the bit to see if it lands on this one.
Yeah.
All right. We spin it, Gern. Let's see what we got. Gern Jr. And
the Victory Land 777.
I was kind of hoping on the other one.
Well,
no,
back in September, the all-time hit leader died. So Pete Rose, he never lived to see whether. Oh, never mind. No, Pete. I thought it was talking about the Baseball Hall of Fame. Nope. The Yukon Huskies head coach Dan Hurley had won 2 straight national championships. They were trying for a 3-peat, which hasn't been done since UCLA, back whenever they were really rolling under John Wooden. After the game, Hurley was ticked.
He was
Florida won the game. They won it by 2, and the Gators move on to take on the Maryland Terrapins. And right after that game, I want to say the second game of that regional was Baylor versus Duke. I think that was right.
Yep.
And after the game, Dan Hurley had a message to the Baylor people, and it was basically along the lines of, I hope those referees don't bleep you like they bleeped us.
Wow. What a sore loser. What a sore loser. Barry, our man Sean has answered the bell. There have been 4 quadruple doubles in the NBA.
Nate Thurmond. Alvin
Buffalo
Robertson.
Braves? Who did Nate Thurmond play for?
He played for the Golden State Warriors.
Okay.
He was bald with a little fringe and a goatee. He was great. Alvin Robertson, Akeem Olajuwon, and David Robinson. Very nice, Sean. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Gern, I got to know what the last topic is. I've got to know.
Yes.
I can't go
another
22 hours without knowing what the topic is. It was missed.
The last topic was missed putt, which John evidently is an expert at.
Yeah, I've missed a few in my day. Is that JT? Had the lead yesterday, kind of got a little tight around the collar.
Fire that up.
My Masters pick, Victor Hovland, who I've got for the Masters because I picked him in my predictions last Memorial Day. He wins it yesterday. It's JT leaks oil coming down the stretch. But, Sergio.
Yikes. Well,
that sounds like something Sergio Garcia would do. Missed a short birdie putt on the final hole Sunday at the Asian Tour. Settling for a par and a 4th place finish, 1 shot behind fellow Live Golf member. I didn't see that. Oh, man. Not going to make it because of a missed short putt. I don't think anybody's going to miss Sergio Garcia. I can promise you that. Not a lot of fans in the States.
For everybody out there, appreciate you joining us tomorrow on the program. It's Brian Matthews Day.
Yes, it is. Travis Fryer as well.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little Alabama with him as well, continuing to recap the weekend and preview the Sweet 16. For Gern Jr., our esteemed producer, for John Longshore, I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.